Alright, guys, so I want to do a rant on New York Met fans. I think New York Met fans are absolutely crazy. Literally everything that could possibly go wrong with your season. Jed Lowry has not played a game. Yoenis Cespedes is in another planet right now. Syndergaard, Thor, all of them have not been on their form. Yet despite all of that, despite all the fact that you have a manager who is literally getting into fights with players and reporters in the clubhouse. You have a general manager who is throwing chairs in the freaking clubhouse. You're only 6 games out of the wild card. It's ridiculous. They could seriously have 1 or 2 good runs and get right back in the race. The next 13 games they play the Chicago White Sox, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Miami Marlins, and the Miami Marlins. And they're playing the Giants right now. Those are about 13 games in which they could have a stretch in which, theoretically, if the bullpen can even save half the games they would have blown earlier in the season, could go 10-3, and they would be 3 or 4 games out of the wild card. Nobody in the National League is running away with this race. The Nationals are 52-45, which is 7 games over 500. They'll probably win 80, 86, 87 games, maybe max. And then the second wild card is, I believe, between the Phillies and the Brewers. And the Phillies are only 3 games under 500, 3 games over 500. And the Phillies play the Mets about 10 more times the rest of the season. Everything that could possibly go wrong for Met fans has gone wrong. And the fact that they are only 6 games out of 500 is a miracle. Absolute miracle. And the fact that they could make a great move to get a bullpen guy. They could get a guy maybe who can change the dynamic of the team. Like, for example, when in 2015 they needed a bat, they picked up Yoenis Cespedes and they got Kelly Johnson. And that completely transformed the team. All they need, really, is one bullpen guy and maybe a couple of adjustments to the one bullpen guy. And, maybe a couple of situational adjustments. And I think maybe they could be right back in it. Why can't the Mets go on a streak of 5 or 6 games win in a row? Why? Is it impossible? I don't think they're playing the Yankees, the Dodgers. They're not playing the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Astros the next 13 games. They're playing teams that are right in the same standing as them. It is unbelievable that despite the fact that Met fans have had every single possible thing go wrong, nothing has gone right the entire season. That they are 6 games under 500 and people are still they are 6 games out of the wild card and people are still complaining. They're still in it. They have 1 good run. It's just crazy to me. It's absolute insanity to me. I understand your team was supposed to be great. I understand. They had Edwin Diaz. They had Robinson Cano, who's obviously not the player he once was before. But who says he can't hit 290 in the second half? Is it impossible? Guys have had good second halves. I mean, he's a second half hitter also throughout his entire career. And then Noah Syndergaard and Jacob deGrom have the potential to definitely turn around. This is a team that have a guy who also can win the batting title in Jeff McNeil and Pete Alonso, who has 33 home runs. There is talent on this team. Anyone who thinks the Mets are just completely out of it, I think is insane. I mean, they're only 6 games out of the wild card, and no team in the National League is so great that they're going to run away with it. And I think Met fans really need to reevaluate their priorities and think things could be a lot worse. I'm not even someone who's an optimist, but the fact that your team is only 6 games out of the wild card, despite the fact that everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong, and you're still complaining about it, it's mind-boggling. Mind-boggling to me. And I think people really need to evaluate the state of the team and that there's still a second half of the season. I know, believe it or not, there's still about 80 games left to go. So, anything could happen in those 80 games. And there's no reason why the Mets can't make a run, just like any other team in the league who's really within 10 games of contention, why they can't go on a run. It's happened before. We've seen it a couple of years ago. I believe in 2013 or 2014, the Oakland Athletics won the AL West on the last day of the regular season from the Texas Rangers. They were about 10 or 11 games back by the All-Star break. The Texas Rangers were dominating the division the entire season, and the Oakland Athletics went on one big run and won the division. So, I mean, I think anything is possible. I really think it's a possibility that the Mets could be 3 or 4 games within the wild card by the end of August. With their schedule, with the way they've been playing, I don't think any other team is really going to run away with this National League wild card because it doesn't seem like any team is so great. The Phillies have their flaws. The Pirates have their flaws. All the teams in the middle who are competing with the Mets, none of those teams are so much better. And I don't understand why Met fans can't see that. I think there's a little bit of hope for the team. The season isn't over. When you're 6 games out of the wild card, your season is not completely over. Okay? You're 5 games under 500, 8 games under 500, does not mean that the Titanic is sinking all of a sudden. It could still be salvaged. Maybe they need the right coach. I don't know if Mickey Callaway is the right man for the job. I think they could use someone like a Buck Showalter or Joe Girardi to really right the ship. But there's absolutely no reason why this team cannot make a run. It's been done before, and I just think Met fans really need to see and really evaluate what's going to happen over the course of the season, and in terms of when they get the easier part of their schedule in July towards right now and in August, and I think then we'll see. But to completely write off the team as if the team has zero chance at all is ludicrous to me. And I think Met fans really need to really be, I think they almost should be positive considering they're only 6 games back, considering everything that's happened so far this season. Edwin Diaz has almost I believe like a 5.68 ERA. The bullpen's blown about 20. The bullpen has the 3rd most saves in the league. I mean, everything that could possibly go wrong has gone wrong, yet your team is still within striking distance. If half those games they lost from the bullpen could be turned around and they even convert half those games, that's a difference of about 10 games. So, I mean, in terms, the bullpen can't possibly be any worse in the second half. It's not possible. It's not humanly possible the bullpen could be any worse. So, I mean, I think they need to look at things optimistically and realize that the season isn't over and that there's still a lot of baseball left. And that's just my personal opinion on Met fans. If you want to disagree, please, by all means, disagree. I've been told I was crazy. But by the end of August, I believe the Mets will be probably within 4 or 5 games of the wild card. And we'll have a chance by the end of September. And if you have any other concerns or opinions, please let me know. And please direct them at me. Because I'm very interested in this. Because there really doesn't seem like any reason to me why the Mets couldn't make a late season run.